Celine Dion, the golden voice that conquered the world with her soaring notes and touching emotions, is a person who carries deep sadness behind her bright light. Born on March 30th, 1968, in Charlemagne, Quebec, Canada, into a frozen family of 14 siblings, Celine grew up in the love but also the hardships of a poor working-class family. Her father, René Dion, was a carpenter, and her mother, Thérèse Tanguay, was a housewife and half-cook, always sacrificing to raise her children. The greatest sadness in Celine's life was not the days of material deprivation or the pressure of fame, but the personal losses and the feeling of helplessness when witnessing the departure of the people she loved most. One of the deepest wounds was the death of her husband, René Angélil, on January 14, 2016, from nasopharyngeal cancer. René was not only her partner, but also her manager and guide, the man who discovered her talent when she was just 12 and turned her into a global star. When René passed away, Celine sat by his bedside in his final hours, holding his hand tightly, tears silently falling as she whispered goodbye. She once shared that losing René was a part of my soul leaving forever, a sadness she carried with her for the rest of her life. Celine's childhood was not a picture of heartbreak, but it was not entirely carefree either. The youngest of a large family, she sang regularly to help her family earn extra income, performing at her parents' bar from a very young age. Early fame brought joy, but also sowed a quiet sadness in her that she could not enjoy her childhood like other children. She has said that there were nights when she stood on a small stage, watching her siblings play outside the window, and cried because she felt separated from those natural moments. But perhaps the greatest sadness came with family losses. The death of her father, Ademar, in 2003, due to a long illness, was a huge blow. Ademar had always been proud of her, and when he passed away, Celine cried at the funeral, hugging her mother, feeling like she had lost a part of her childhood and her greatest source of support. The sadness was not only loss, but also regret that she could not be with her father more in his final years, when her career took her all over the world. Celine's sadness did not stop at major events. She suffered from periods of depression after René's death, when she was faced with raising her children, René Charles and twins Eddie and Nelson, alone in the loneliness of raising them. Once, after a performance, she sat in her dressing room, holding a picture of René, tears streaming down her face as she felt a sense of emptiness that no one could fill. For Celine, the greatest sadness was not just the loss of a loved one, but the feeling of helplessness as she looked back on the moments she wished she could have done differently. From not being able to save René from a terrible disease, to the times she felt she had not fulfilled her role as a wife and mother amid the busy pace of her career. Celine Dion's career has been a long journey of refined peaks and memorable setbacks, a story of natural talent and relentless performance. From a young age, Celine displayed a powerful and emotional voice, a gift that her mother recognized and encouraged. At the age of 12, she recorded her first song, Ce n'était qu'un rêve, written by her mother and brother Jacques, and sent it to René Angélil, who later became her manager. René cried when he heard Celine sing, and he put his entire fortune on the line to make her a star. Her career took off with the album Unison, 1990, which marked her international breakthrough, but the real breakthrough came with The Power of Love, 1993, and Because You Loved Me, 1996, which took her to the top of pop music. The pinnacle, however, was My Heart Will Go On, 1997, the theme song from Titanic, which earned her an Oscar and a Grammy and has become one of the most iconic songs of all time. Celine's success did not come easy. In the early years, she faced doubts from critics who thought her voice was too dramatic and unsuitable for the English-speaking market. Once, After a poorly received performance in France, she cried backstage, clutching the microphone, automatically thinking that she had to prove her worth. But she did not give up. She learned English from scratch, working tirelessly with René to perfect every note, every performance. Her career continued to shine with the Las Vegas show, A New Day, 2003 to 2007, which grossed over $385 million and became one of the most successful shows in history. However, not all projects were successful. The album One Heart, 2003, received mixed reviews, and Celine once sat alone in the studio, tears falling quietly because she felt she had not met the expectations of her prosthetic leg. Celine's efforts are not limited to singing. She spends hours practicing her voice, refuses to accept days when her voice is tired, and works with musicians to create songs that touch the hearts of listeners. When she made It's All Coming Back to Me Now, 1996, she cried in the studio because she remembered her love for René. And when she sang My Heart Will Go On at the Oscars, she cried with joy and pain, thinking about those she lost. Celine Dion's career is a living painting, where every note, every performance is the result of breath, tears, and endless passion, transforming her from a little girl in Quebec to a global music legend. Celine Dion is never satisfied with what she has achieved, always setting higher goals to affirm herself and leave a legacy in music history. From a little girl singing in a family bar, she dreamed of becoming a singer known to the world, and she did. Songs like The Power of Love or My Heart Will Go On were not just hits, but emotional declarations that touched the hearts of millions. Celine always gave her best in every performance, which was an unforgettable experience, from small stages in Canada to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. She once said that whether she could produce White Octopus or laugh through her voice, that was her greatest achievement. In addition to music, Celine also guides the creation of a product with better quality work. She established the Celine Dion Foundation to support poor children and difficult families, with the desire to give back what life had given her. Once, when visiting a children's hospital and seeing a child laughing when listening to her singing, Celine silently wiped away tears, feeling that what she had done was more meaningful than any awards. She also strived to be a strong mother figure to René Charles, Eddie, and Nelson, passing on to them the love and expression that René and her parents had taught her. For Celine, success was not just about fame, but about connecting people through music and spreading hope. A goal she pursued until her final years, even when her health was no longer what it had been. Love and marriage were an inseparable part of Celine Dion's life, where she found deep happiness but also an opponent with indelible sadness. She met René Angélil when she was a 12-year-old girl, and he, 26 years her senior, became her manager. Their love grew silently over the years of working together, and they officially tied the knot on December 17, 1994, at Montreal's Notre Dame Basilica in a lavish, fairy tale-like ceremony. René was not only her husband, but also her soulmate, the father of her son, René Charles, born in 2001, and twins Eddie and Nelson, born in 2010 after several difficult IVF attempts. In the early years of their marriage, Celine often said that René was my whole world, who in turn provided her with stability amid the busy pace of her career. But happiness did not last without challenges. When René was expected to have nasopharyngeal cancer in 1999, Celine put her career on hold to be with him, caring for him through each chemotherapy treatment. She once said that there were nights when she sat by his bedside, holding his hand tightly, struggling because she was afraid of losing him. Although he recovered temporarily, the disease returned in 2013, and this time she could not save him. When René passed away in 2016, Celine cried at the funeral, hugging her children tightly, feeling like she had lost half of her life. Her sadness in love was not betrayal or voluntary separation, but the pain of seeing the person she loved the most grow farther away, and the loneliness of having to continue living without him by her side. For Celine, sadness in marriage was the regret of not being able to last forever the love she and René had built. Celine Dion has amassed a considerable fortune over a career spanning more than 4 decades. Although the exact figure is not available in 2025, it is estimated that her fortune is between $800 million and $1 billion, thanks to album sales, Las Vegas shows, and endorsement deals. She owns a luxurious mansion in Henderson, Nevada, near Las Vegas, with a large lake, a private recording studio, and lush gardens where she often sings to her children. The house was built during the peak of her residency and is where she retreats after long tours. She also has a mansion in Montreal, Canada, which is a treasure trove of family memories with René, with walls filled with wedding photos and pictures of her children. In addition to any products, Celine owns a penthouse in Paris, where she often goes for musical inspiration and to enjoy European culture. Her biggest earnings came from A New Day and Celine, 2011 to 2019. 2 Las Vegas shows that brought in hundreds of millions of dollars, along with sales of best-selling albums such as Falling Into You, 1996, and Let's Talk About Love, 1997. She also invested in the fashion brand Celine Dion collection and any products, ensuring financial security for future products. Celine is not talented, but she owns a collection of expensive jewelry, including a diamond, including a